Do you think you really know the people closest to you? You watch for obvious red flags, drama, anger, cruelty, and you step back when you spot them. But the most dangerous forces rarely arrive with flashing lights. They come softly, smiles, concern, familiar voices. These are ways someone's hidden struggles can leak into your life and quietly redraw the lines of who you are. This video will map those hidden patterns. We will name 6 human profiles, not monsters, but people whose inner darkness, unexamined, can use you as a stage for their pain. Listen carefully. This will change how you see others and yourself. Carl Jung believed that each person carries a hidden side, which he called the shadow. It holds the traits we deny or repress, and if left unrecognized, it surfaces through others, shaping how we perceive them. To truly understand human character and protect our own mind, Jung taught that we must confront this shadow within ourselves. Before we list the 6 types, you must understand one mechanism that underlies them all: projection. When someone refuses to accept a piece of themselves, anger, shame, greed, fear, the psyche will often refuse to hold that content. Instead, it looks for a host. That host can be a partner, a friend, a colleague, or even a family member. The host begins to feel strange guilt, unexplained fatigue, sudden accusations or praise that feels like pressure. You may catch yourself thinking, "I must be the problem," or "I always ruin things." That voice is not always yours. Projection paints the other's map onto your canvas until the borders blur. Let me give you an everyday example. A co-worker who constantly complains about being unappreciated. At first you sympathize, then you begin to schedule your day around soothing them. You notice your tasks slipping. You start apologizing for things you didn't do. The co-worker's unresolved need has redirected your energy. It wasn't malice, often it isn't. It was an unconscious offload. That's projection. So this is your first defense. Interrogate feelings that arrive after intense contact. Pause. Ask, is this mine? Name it. If the sensation dissolves when you step away, that was likely projection. If it stays, it might genuinely be you. The simple act of naming breaks the spell. Now the first profile, the unconscious manipulator. They often wear the mantle of fragility, soft voice, wounded stories, intense sensitivity. You go to help. That's the trap. Their need becomes a survival pattern they don't own. Instead of processing pain, they compress it and push it outward. You become the canvas for their unresolved rage, shame, or despair. Over time, your sense of self erodes because you are performing roles for them. Savior, villain, scapegoat, roles that are not about you. How to spot them? They rarely ask for help directly. They let guilt and obligation grow slowly. Their statements are designed to tug. If you loved me, you would stay, or you're the only one who understands me. Those lines create a psychological debt. You begin to regulate your behavior to avoid their storms. That's how control is exercised without control. A short tactic, practical and immediate. Keep a feelings log for 48 hours after long interactions. Note shifts, exhaustion, self-blame, confusion. If patterns repeat with the same person, mark it. Then set a small boundary. Shorten interactions by 10 minutes. Delay immediate problem fixing. Ask them to seek a therapist or journal. The goal is to stop being their container. Empathy does not mean self-erasure. Profile 2. The persona holder, the one who performs life. They have polished appearances, rehearsed kindness, and an intolerance for mess. Their behavior is efficient, their compliments are practiced, and spontaneity makes them uncomfortable. On the surface, everything is tidy, but inside, authenticity is sealed away. The danger here is contagion. If you spend time with rehearsed people, you begin to rehearse too. You edit your jokes, you filter your rage, you learn to fit the script. Over time, you can't remember your own unpracticed voice. A short story. Imagine a family dinner where one person always signals appropriately. Laughter at the designated moment, a polite question at the right time. They steer the conversation to safe topics and freeze when someone shows vulnerability. After several dinners, you notice you pause before speaking, checking for the right tone. That's persona contagion. How to respond? Cultivate micro-authentic acts. A tiny confession, a deliberately awkward pause, an unpracticed laugh. These are small rebellions that remind you and others that being messy is human. If someone punishes that authenticity, cold shoulder, silent disapproval, you have data. You're in a performative environment. Protect your unpolished self by creating safe pockets, a friend, a journal, a morning ritual where you say an uncensored truth. Third profile, the person whose shadow is repressed. They present as controlled, measured, calm, but inside a pressure builds. Denied emotions ferment, envy, rage, sexual impulses, ambition concealed as humility. The shadow is not merely bad, it contains denied talents and energy too. But repressed, it becomes poison. Small triggers set off disproportionate explosions. The pattern is subtle: passive aggression, grudges kept for years, inexplicable coldness after a minor mistake. Imagine a neighbor who always says it's fine, but later sabotages community efforts in small, hidden ways, leaving you to clean up consequences. Or a partner who is hypercritical about your moods because their own feelings are forbidden. The remedy is twofold. For them, integration, therapy, honest work, naming the denied. For you, distance and calibration. Do not diffuse every ticking bomb, keep boundaries, and avoid taking responsibility for repressing someone else's life force. Practical step: when you see disproportionate reaction, mirror it calmly. I notice you reacted strongly. I'm not sure why. I need space to check in. That statement reduces reactivity because it refuses to become the stage for their eruption. Fourth profile, the moral controller, the person who uses righteousness as a leash. This is not mere criticism. It is a governance of conscience externally enforced. They convert moral language into a tool for dominance. It's for your own good. You'll thank me later. Someone must tell you the truth. These phrases carry moral weight and then blame. Their project is to maintain a spotless image by projecting their forbidden parts outward. This dynamic is particularly poisonous in families, religious groups, and hierarchical workplaces. You begin to censor yourself, feel perpetual shame, and adopt an externalized moral code. The corrective: reclaim internal morality. Ask, who benefits from this moralization? If the answer is preserving another's image, you're being regulated, not guided. Set boundaries around moral policing. Decline moral lectures in private. Request specific behavior feedback instead of moral condemnation. And seek communities where integrity includes compassion for contradictions. Fifth profile, the complexed person. Complexes are autonomous emotional nodes rooted in past trauma, abandonment, shame, persecution. They can hijack present reactions. That means a harmless comment can trigger a 10-year-old wound. Living next to a complex person is unpredictable. Warmth turns into rage, affection into accusation. This volatility is addictive. You hope to keep the good moments and avoid the bad. But living like that corrodes you. A practical pattern. You become anticipatory. You read the room. You preempt triggers. You become exhausted performing emotional diplomacy. Stop believing you can stabilize someone's inner world. Your role is to maintain your presence and safety. Encourage them to work with professionals, but don't sign up to be their ongoing repair kit. When a sudden storm hits, use the phrase, "I'm here when things calm down. I won't engage in accusations right now." Repetition of this boundary rewires expectations. Sixth profile, the psychic vampire. Not a monster in a cloak, but someone who persistently extracts energy. They request your time, validation, and emotional labor until you are depleted. The dynamic starts with small asks, a call in bad times, a message that won't stop. Then it escalates into chronic dependency. The key difference between help and vampirism is reciprocity. Are they ever the giver, or are they only retakers? Protective structure, schedule limits, emotional non-availability at certain hours, and a simple script. I have 20 minutes now. After that, I need to focus on my work. Rehearse that phrase. Energy is a resource. Treat it like money. If someone spends it without return, you adjust the budget. And remember, saying no is not mean. It is sanity. Now, practical synthesis. How do you keep your center? First, name the pattern. Labels are maps, not moral sentences. Second, test the feeling. Pause after draining contact and ask, "Is this mine?" Third, structural boundaries, time limits, conversation topics, and refusal phrases. Fourth, externalize support. A therapist, a steady friend, a mentor. Fifth, stop rescuing at your cost. Rescue can enable dependency. Sixth, turn observation inward. Reflect where you repeat patterns. We all have shadows. The difference is whether we look. A short exercise you can apply today. Write down 3 people who leave you drained and 3 people who leave you charged. Note behaviors that differ. For a week, reduce time with the top drainer by 20%. Notice what changes. Small experiments produce clarity. Also record your own triggers. When do you step in to fix, rather than to ask? Awareness precedes change. This was not a list to shame anyone. It was a lesson. See these 6 profiles as patterns, not people. The practical takeaways are simple. Name the pattern when it appears. Test whether the feeling is truly yours. Set clear boundaries, get steady support, and turn honest attention toward your own tendencies. Practice one small experiment this week. Reduce a draining contact by a little time and observe what changes inside you. That single act of boundary testing is where awareness becomes strength. Breathe. Look. Keep your center.